What is up, conscious monkeys? Welcome to another episode of Catch Up with Clayton. As always, I am your host, Clayton, and this episode is actually going to be very fascinating because I have decided to go live. So this is the very first Catch Up with Clayton that I'm recording that I will be going live on IG, and I see people falling in. I'm going to try to get to those questions as they come up, but this is going to be a little bit difficult because I got an active chat on the right. I'm recording in front of me, so I'm going to do my best to see how I can make this happen. So please stick with me. With all that being said, we have a crazy catch up because there's just like a lot of things that happened this week. I talk about the mood and the energy of this past week. We're going to talk about a meditation retreat, an international meditation retreat that is in the works. Well, more on that in a second. I'll tell you why things might be crumbling around you. We're going to go over a portal that's actually appearing very soon. I probably should do a bit on this next week, but I'm going to talk about it today. I'm going to have a follow-up. I also have a follow-up on the whole Kanye West thing that I mentioned last week in the podcast, but I had another, let's say, thought. I had another idea associated with it. I was talking to someone, and we'll get to that in a bit. I've got a Netflix show I want to tell you guys about, and I also want to tell you guys to leave a comment. What am I saying here? Words. Rate on your favorite social media platform, wherever you're listening to this, whether it's podcast, Apple, Spotify, whatever it is. Drop a like, drop a star rating, drop a review. Because honestly, getting those reviews helps me in so many ways. I mean, of course, algorithm, people, it looks valid, blah, blah, blah. But even from a personal standpoint, knowing what you guys are thinking, knowing what you guys want is so powerful to me. So I know if I'm on the right track, and I want to get you guys the best content possible. I'm going to keep doing me, but I want to hear your feedback on, the direction. Maybe you want to hear more about certain things or less about others. I'm here for it. But like I said, let's take a step back. We got a wild podcast today. I hope everyone enjoyed Halloween this on Monday. Was it on Monday or Tuesday? Yesterday was Tuesday. On Monday. Crazy life. So let's talk about the past week. Let's start off with you guys. Things are crumbling. Yes. If you notice this, if you noticed wacky energy starting to creep in, I hate to say it, but maybe expect it for about another week or so. I know I have been very much in a feminine energy with regards to doing things. I've kind of been in a very much receiving, very much becoming in higher alignment type energy. I'm not really energized to go do something right away. I'm kind of taking more of a passive role at this time. And it's okay to do that. I know in our culture, we are very constantly being bombarded with the idea, with the energy, with the thought of doing, of hustle culture. This is your permission. I'm giving you permission to take a step back and allow the stream, the flow, the river of life take you where it needs and wants to take you. No longer fight it. It's funny because I actually had a dream the other day that re-emphasized this. Had to do with like a boat and stuff, and it's not that crazy, so I'm gonna just keep it to myself. I'll give you guys the crazy dreams when they happen, but this one wasn't too crazy. So things are crumbling. I want you to be grateful for these things to crumble, because as I discussed in the last one, and I do truly believe that this needs reiterating, Halloween, Day of the Dead, it's all about, what is it all about? It's all about crumbling. It's all about breaking down the old system, reevaluating the last year of your life. It's all about seeing what's no longer serving you. What are you holding on to? What are you aligning with? That is no longer in your best interest. And so the way that manifests in people's lives, the way that it would be manifesting in your life, relationships may be falling apart, struggles at work, problems with kids, family members. It's all there to help show you something about yourself, to show you the direction, the things that you might be overlooking to move forward. And this goes very interesting because I have been thinking about this. Because the next holiday we have, which is less than a month away, is Thanksgiving. And then after that is Christmas and New Year. I find it so fascinating because we have Halloween, which is like death, dying, letting go. Literally less than a month later, we have another holiday. And it's always fascinated me. It's always fascinated me that we had 3 holidays, technically 4 if you want to consider New Year's a holiday. We have 4 packed into the last 3 months. I always remember thinking to myself, like, why didn't people space this out? Like, why was it that we just jammed in all of these massive holidays, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, into a 3-month period? Like, why didn't we evenly space this out? I want to have my candy 1 month. I want to wait a little bit, get my presents, stuff myself with turkey. And what it is, I believe, is exactly this. It's Halloween's that death. Thanksgiving is trying to find a way to give thanks for those things that you needed to let die, those things you needed to let fall by the wayside. And then Christmas mixed with New Year's is about the new energy you want to step into, that new person you want to be, that new experience, human experience, enlightened, conscious experience that you want to have and to take it forward. So that's really something. I'm checking the comments here and I'm seeing Deem It Sony wants me to talk about consciousness and Akashic records. I did have an Akashic record reading the other day. I'm going to keep it vague because I don't know, because I want to keep patient client confidentiality. But this person was going through it as well. They were having a difficult time, and this really aligned with me that things are crumbling. Things are crumbling for all of us. That's okay. Let them crumble. It's a test in letting go. I feel like I'm beating this down, but it's a very important concept for us to internalize. I know it's a very important concept for myself to internalize, and it's something that I am still to this day trying to internalize. The masculine in me does not want to let go. It wants to harness. It wants to hold. It wants to know what's right. So if I feel that way, then someone else has to feel that way, right? That's how it goes, because it's not just me. So let's keep moving along. Where are we moving into? This is interesting. It's just an interesting dynamic having the IGTV up and then recording this as well. So it's kind of cool. Something you're going to be able to do up and coming is that there is an 1111 portal. It's a 111122 portal. So November 11th, 2022. Some people are calling this to be one of the biggest portals in the century, in the decade. I fucking have no idea if it's that big or not. It seems a little big. I would have assumed that 111111 would have been a bigger portal 10 or 11 years ago. Wow. But here's what it could be, and this is my personal interpretation, is that first of all, the repeating ones is powerful, but then followed by the double 2-2, to me, that signifies that it's going to amplify this energy. It's going to amplify the energy in relationships, especially in love, in duality. Anything that you're trying to find duality in, that's what this portal is going to amplify. Now, what does this mean for you? What cool, Clayton. Like, oh, cool, it's a portal, blah, blah, blah. What the hell are we supposed to do about it? I get it. Don't worry, I get it. Let me give you actual tools that you can use on this portal day so that you can step into the highest version of yourself. So before I give you those tools, let's take one step back and actually talk about what we can use this portal for. I want you to view it in the lens of ascension, of choice, and primarily transformation. Because like what we've been talking about throughout this entire podcast and even a little bit last week is your life is transforming right now. Shit is getting weird. You need to just sit, stay calm, don't make any rash decisions, let go of energy that's no longer serving you, and be ready for the transformation because it's coming. And what you're going to do is meditate or journal to help your life, your consciousness, your being ascend into the reality that you so desire. And this is the perfect time to do it. So how? Let me give you the tools. Tools are so important. Meditating and journaling. These are my two favorite. And what I've found is that I think that these are probably going to be some of, if not the most important tools. Please go do your other research elsewhere. If other people have suggestions, please listen to it. But here are the tools. Meditating, journaling. I want you to write down your intentions for this new beginning. Really, truly ask yourself, what do you really want? This is the perfect time. When everything is breaking down, that is the perfect time to evaluate what do you truly want. Because maybe 5-10 years ago, you wanted things that are currently in your life now that you're like, if only it was a little bit more this way. If only this person was a little bit more like that. And I want you to harness that and realize that you are the creator of your reality. You are able to change those things. You have the power to step into that. And this portal coming up, this 11/11, this energy, the rest, honestly, it might transcend the rest of this month. This is your time to really step into the things that you want to get more clear about in your life. And personally, meditating and journaling are those two things that I think are super powerful. You can also ask yourself, what do I want to bring into this state of being? How do you want to feel? If you look, hey, I get it. Being anxious, being nervous, being this state of lower vibration, it can be enticing. I get it. I battle with that shit every day. I seriously do. I get it. I've been in states where I can recognize it. I'm at a point where I fucking can recognize, like, okay, this is ego driven. And then, here's my choice, ego or higher self. And I still find myself battling, like, oh, I just want that ego thing just a little bit. It's like, I still want it. I know that it's there, but I want it. And here's the thing is the universe will give you it if that's what you want. The way I view it is that it comes down to the energetic frequency that you wish to impose. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Our ego, we were given our ego for a reason. You're allowed to do things out of ego. That's totally cool. There's no shame in it. I notice it all the time with myself. It's only if you, and there's nothing wrong with this, but I would just put a lens on this, is that if you're actually judging yourself, if you're feeling guilty, if you're holding yourself back, if you're feeling ashamed because you made a decision, I think that's even worse than just making a decision out of ego. Make a decision. If you're going to make a decision out of ego, fucking own it and just realize that whatever happens, happens from that. I would say balance it. I'm all for the higher self stuff, but I get that it's difficult. Just this is where the masculine comes in. Make a decision and be happy that you made that decision. And down the road, see how that decision plays out. If it gets ruined, per se, if it doesn't come out exactly how you wanted, well, you learned. You learned. Yeah, 11 Impulse is commenting. Awareness is key. Awareness is the key. Being aware of the decisions you made, being aware of how you feel whenever those decisions come in and embody, that is the key. So quick pivot. Bum, bum, bum. I want to go into the meditating portion. I want to kind of take a step back and talk about meditating, because I have on my IG, you guys might have seen it already, but on my, I'm going to make a quick comment here. Have you heard of Seven Bombmar? I have not. Someone else commented that, I think, but let's just stick with this for now. I'll definitely get back to you on that. Meditation retreat. You guys might have seen it on the IG. It's happening. We're going to do it. I'm going to set up a meditation retreat. What I want you to do, if this is something that interests you, if you're just a slight bit interested, I want you to, if you're on IG, click the link in my bio. If you're listening to the podcast, go down to the description. You're going to click on the master link. If you're on IG, it's just the link in my bio. Podcast, master link, and then you're going to go and just sign up for my email, because I'm going to blast the email whenever all of the things get finalized with the meditation retreat. And we're going to do it. We're going to have a meditation retreat. I have a meeting on Friday. So if you're listening to the podcast, it's tomorrow. But this meeting, I'm so excited. Super dope chick. She hosts these retreats in a bunch of different locations, and I don't know where I want to do it yet. And I want to get you guys involved in the decision-making process, because I've got my own ego place, and I feel like I'm just going to be doing a retreat at all of these at some point in time. So what I've decided, and hopefully you guys will help me with this, is I'm actually going to post on, after talking with her, so it might be in a couple of days, we're going to make a bracket. So there's 4 locations. It's El Salvador, Nicaragua, Bali, and Costa Rica. What the plan is I'm going to actually host a bracket. So we'll just do like one against the other. Everybody will vote, and then the winner will like advance to like the next final round. So we're already in the final 4. Everyone's favorite part. And for the rankings, I asked on my IG feed for people to vote. And so they got the vote. Oh shit, it's 11-11 right now. How cool is that? 11-11. Shit. Well, let's keep moving. I just got distracted. Pulled me out of this dimension. Oh, interesting. Someone just mentioned that Sevon Bomar is in Costa Rica. Oh, I wonder if that stars aligning right there. No such thing as coincidences. So we're gonna have the bracket. The rankings are already out. So it was actually in the order that I mentioned earlier. Coming in at 4 is going to be El Salvador. Ranking number 3 is Nicaragua. Number 2 is Bali. And the number 1 choice that you guys are currently thinking is Costa Rica. But we're still going to have the bracket, because whenever I posted that, it was like all 4 of them at once. And so you might want something over the other. But let's see. Let's see what happens. I think a ranking would be really cool. Cool. So that's there. Please go click the master link below. Also, while you're clicking the master link, go also join the messaging group, because I want to be a bit more active in there. I want to communicate with you guys one-on-one. Well, I guess it's not technically one-on-one. It's more of like a group setting. But I want to get you guys in touch with each other too, because if the way I guess I kind of see it is like, it's weird. I guess it's a hierarchy, right? I have all these followers, and so if I'm here and I have all these followers, right, who are listening to my stuff, I guess it's not a hierarchy. I feel like it's more flat, right? There's me, and then the people who have come in, you guys. And so if you're interested in what I'm saying, and if you even feel so inclined to click on the messaging group, just think of somebody else who feels inclined to click on the messaging group. Chances are very high. Chances are astronomically high that you're going to find people who resonate with you. You get to talk one-on-one with more people than what's on this program. Yeah, Merklin even commented your tribe. Yeah, you get to find your tribe here. And that's really all I'm trying to do. I don't really I want to bring people together. I want to help people raise their vibration. I want you to see growth mindsets who want to see new ways of experiencing this reality, new possibilities, because we don't talk about this every day. I don't have McLean. Sorry about that. McLean was the person who commented the tribe. But that's the thing. It was like, I want to bring you guys together. It's really not about me. It's about you guys. It's about forming those people who are like-minded, the people who want to grow, the people who want to experience new realities. So please, while you're there, while you're reviewing the platform, while you're signing up, please jump on to get the messaging platform. Cool. Where are we at? Man, this has been a wild episode already. This is cool, doing this live and everything. McLean is seriously wants me to look up 7 Bomar. You know what? You're so adamant on this that I might just have to type it in. Is that Instagram? I'm probably just going to type it into Instagram. Excuse me while we take a quick detour on the podcast. We're on Instagram. I'm typing it in. SEVAN Bomar. BOMAR. Sivan AstralQuest at AstralQuest. I don't know if that's who it is. He looks pretty dope. Or I guess this isn't. I don't know. This looks like pretty cool art. McLean, can you DM me the tag? Let me jump back to this, or at least send me some links so I can find them. It looks like there's a lot of people with that tag online. Whew. Let's get into Kanye. You guys want to talk about Kanye? Maybe people are sick of hearing about Kanye at this point. But I think it's important. I think that this conversation that I'm about to bring up is actually not talked about at all, and it's actually super important. And it's honestly a thought that I wish I would have brought up last week, but I was at a Halloween party, and this conversation was so important to me that I was like, I have to talk about this on my podcast next week. I was like, I think I'm done talking about Kanye, but then talking with this guy at this party, his name's Rick. Shout out Rick. Rick, if you're listening, this is kind of his idea, and I'm just going to riff off of it because it resonated with me so much. But Rick, I forget exactly how the conversation went, but he, along the lines, was like, we were talking about something about the spirituality and then consciousness, and Kanye came up. And I kind of told him about my viewpoint with like the idea of censorship and how I don't really know what Kanye said because of all the censorship that's around him. And he brought up a really fascinating point that, you know, we live in a society that wants to praise itself on mental health, mental awareness, you know, speak up if something's wrong. And yet, here we have a perfect situation of somebody who is struggling, and yet we all just want to denounce him as crazy. We just want to take away his money. We want to ridicule him. And I found it super fascinating because I do believe that there has to be some sort of mental health thing going on with Kanye. I mean, there 100%, I've seen interviews and him talking, and there are strokes of genius in that man. Of course, I believe I should reiterate for the fringe group who are going to take my words out of context and just say that I denounce any form of violence or hate. I don't think that is appropriate. There is no justification. Well, I understand why people do it, but I believe that there is always a higher way of going about it. However, in this situation, well, not however, I don't know why I prefaced it with that, but I just believe that it is super important for us to acknowledge that there are strokes of genius in this man. And there are clearly outbreaks that he has where he's disconnected from society, he's disconnected from himself, he's disconnected from thinking in some sort of way. I mean, I've seen monologues that this dude has had, and I'm like, holy shit, that's so profound. And then there's instances where the whole alleged Twitter thing happened, because I don't know, I didn't see the tweets, but allegedly he said all those crazy racist things on Twitter. I mean, even look back to the whole Taylor Swift incident when he cut her off in the middle of her speech. I mean, and from my experience, I'm not a mental health expert. I am not a mental health expert. But from my experience, he's been doing things that are kind of like outlandish, like shocking, to try to get attention. And I don't know what the answer is, but I think that there, at some level, we need to have a bit more of a compassionate viewpoint for this man. McLean, can you send me those via DM? I apologize for this cutoff in this transmission. But Kanye, it's just the question in my mind becomes is how does a sick society heal other people within the society? How are we able to help him if we don't know how to even identify what mental health is? Because that's kind of the biggest thing I'm seeing where, his outlashes, his outbreaks, you know, yelling about how Adidas can't touch him. That seems like a mental health thing to me. Remember, guys, we're talking about a dude who created some of the best albums in the history of music. And that's not accident. You don't accidentally do that. Like musical genius and intelligence pulls that out. That comes from some other worldly place. So I see this as more of a mental health thing. I mean, you could even break down, well, maybe I shouldn't touch that because I really don't know enough to speak on that. Yeah. So I always find it very fascinating that we live in this culture that breeds mental health, mental health. We need more about mental health. Let's help people. And then someone visibly has a mental health breakdown. And yet our first reaction is to cancel him, stop listening to his music, take away his money. It's not to help him. It's not to help him. It's not to show him that there's a better way to love and be compassionate. I saw Elon tweeted at him, so maybe Elon talked to him and talked to him about that. But where are all the other voices? Maybe it's one of those things where the loudest people get the most attention. But it's something that I really hope we can move more towards and more alignment. I don't know. Maybe it's something time will tell. Maybe I need to just focus on myself, helping you guys, helping this community. And maybe that helping of you guys will spread the energy and have a ripple effect across time and space and help him. Maybe at some point he'll come on the podcast. That'll be dope. Can we work on manifesting that? Because I'd be sick. Yeah, but, just wanted to put it out there. I find it super fascinating. I find it very, very fascinating. Let's do a quick shift. I don't want to leave you guys in a bad mood getting out of here, but someone at this party where we were talking about this. What's up, Saeed? How we doing? What's up, guys? I'm going to interact with the chat right now, guys. So if you're listening, give me a brief second before I leave you guys off. Merc is dropping some cool stuff. So Merc, can you send me all that stuff? Send me that stuff via DM. She's sending a lot of links and I'm not going to be able to check them. Saeed, what's up? Hope all you people in the chat are doing amazing. I think it's so cool that so many of you are here. Whew. Man, that felt like a very energetic podcast so far. So I'll tell you about this. So at that party as well, as maybe many of you know, actually probably nobody knows this. Maybe somebody does. I am currently in between relationships. And so it was funny because at that same party, somebody mentioned a show on Netflix which is all about relationships, which is called Love is Blind. I was like, oh, that's an interesting show. And basically the concept is that they set up where you're in pods. And so there's like a group of guys and a group of girls, and you just basically go into these rooms and talk through a wall. And you don't see the other person before like making a decision within 10 days if you want to marry them or not. So I found it super fascinating. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll check it out. I watched like 9 minutes of the first show and I was like, I'm sold, I'll apply. And they had applications open. It was like, they were like, how did you know we were hosting applications? I was like, I didn't. I had no idea. My friend sent me this, told me to watch this, and so I'm applying. And so it's kind of cool. So I applied to that. We'll see what happens. It seems like a really interesting vibe. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if anyone else has watched this show on Netflix, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I am out of things to tell you guys. So what I will tell you is to join the messaging group. Please review on your favorite podcast platform because it helps me, helps the algorithm, helps everyone. And lastly, go check out my subscription or Patreon. There's a Patreon. The only merch I have so far is via Patreon. You got to be subscribed on Patreon for like 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And based on your subscription package, we'll send you out some merch. And I also wanted to start getting my own merch line going. That's something I'm trying to figure out how to do. I think I need to do like I'm going to have to do like a GoFundMe or something. I'm open to DMs. Shoot me a DM if you have any ideas on merchandise, because that's really where I'm at right now. Try to get more money flowing in. That's my thing. That's where I'm at. I need to fall into some more masculine energy with money. I want to get you guys merchandise. I also have ideas for supplements because all the shit out there I barely even take because it's trash. And so I kind of want to create my own supplement brand and then distribute that out to you guys. At this point, I also kind of feel like I'm just rambling. So please, the best things you guys can do at this point in time, in order of ease, right? Of ease and effort is number 1, leave a review. Number 2, join the messaging. And then number 3, sign up for the Patreon. Because look, all that I'm doing with the money, somebody even asked, like, what do you do with the money? At this point, I have no overhead. I'm recording this. I'm recording this in my parents' basement, and all the money I'm making is either getting spent on, well, the money I have or make gets spent on just hosting platforms for the podcast, buying equipment for the podcast, or that's pretty much it at this point. I'm literally putting all of this into the podcast. That's it. Gostas de Pão. Is that a bad word? I think I know what that is in Portuguese. That's sexual, isn't it? Who is... I know Portuguese and Spanish, so you can't make those comments. Gostas de Pão. Yeah, that's not bread. Or, well, I guess you wrote it like bread, but isn't it something else? Anyhow, I'm kind of getting sidetracked. This is interesting, though, doing this with podcasting, like recording the podcast and then doing it live. So those are the best things you can do. Join the Patreon. I mean, all this money gets reinvested. If the Patreon's a little bit too much for you, then if the Patreon's a little bit too much for you, where was I going with this? If the Patreon is a little bit too much for you, Instagram just gave me the option to have like subscriptions. So for $1 a month, I made it as cheap as possible. $1 a month, I'm going to be releasing more reels, but just only to the subscribed people. So go click that. That'll be kind of cool. And yeah, I'm kind of running out of juice. See, I told you I'm in a very like kind of like I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm in a very yin. Feels like a very yin energy that's going on right now. A lot of chaos and destruction. That's it. That's the description for it. It's a very yin energy. All right. Well, I need to step into my masculine and make a decision, which is going to be my decision to end this podcast. So, conscious monkeys, I will see you all in the 6th dimension.